Hi, babe. Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller. Today's episode features Allison Miller, longtime horror babe, second time horror short writer and director. Allison wrote and directed Hollow, a horror short film fully femme and non binary about zombies. Not to mention it takes place during the pandemic in 2020. Let's tune in to a conversation with Allison about writing a zombie movie during the pandemic, growing up with a horror babe mom, and more. Hi, Allison.
Hi.
Allison Miller wrote and directed Hollow, a short zombie film that was at FilmQuest. And I say this as a horror fan, your film was disgusting.
Thank you.
This sounds, oh my God, we will get into that. But please tell everyone about yourself and about this film.
Sure. I'm Allison Miller. I am in New York. Lived in LA for 18 years. Started directing in 2018. Made a short film that I think was also pretty disgusting. I had some crew members have to leave the room while we were filming parts of it.
Oh no.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Hollow came out of wanting to see something really different with the zombie genre. I felt like I had never seen anything that was entirely female and non-binary is in most horror, but particularly the zombie genre. I was stuck inside in 2020, kind of like everyone else, and started thinking about what that would look like inside of a different kind of place, inside of a facility with a bunch of people who are trying to overcome challenges with their health and mental health. I had noticed, some of my own worst impulses coming up while I was quarantining and thought, well, that would be an interesting thing to kind of explore the endless hunger that comes with eating disorders and how that kind of translates into the endless hunger of a zombie never fully getting its needs met. So that's where it is coming from.
Well, I think that's so vulnerable of you to put all of that in a film, let alone a horror film. But I personally believe that horror is the best way to expose, if you will, those, I don't want to use the word flaw, but those parts of ourselves that we're not exactly proud of.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the perfect genre for that.
Yes.
I really do.
I agree. It's just the shadow self can be explored in a really gruesome way that is I think the most truthful.
Yeah. So the thing that stuck out to me, honestly, the most was sound.
Yes.
Sound played such a huge part in this because I don't want to give too much away, but the main character, the lead, I forgot her name.
In the movie, her character's name is Amelia. The actor is Andrea Bang, who's awesome.
Andrea Bang. Yes, she was delightful. I loved her performance. She has this aspect to her eating disorder where any kind of sound that she hears that relates to the mouth or chewing just absolutely repulses her and she cannot eat. And I want to know all about that. Like, how did you get to that point? What was the decision behind that? Like, did you have a sound team? I'm assuming you did. And just tell me about that.
Yes, I had a great sound team. And then my post sound person just was getting notes from me every single day going, louder, grosser, louder. I grew up with a mother who has misophonia. So chewing with my mouth open was not just bad manners. It was leave this entire house if you're going to do that.
Leave the country.
Here's your passport, go. And I have a bit of it myself. There's certain things, if somebody's chewing gum next to me, I start to feel like I'm going to lose lose my mind. And I know a
Yeah.
few other people who deal with that. And I thought it would be a really interesting way, hopefully, of tying in this trauma that Amelia is bringing in with her, because
Yeah.
it's triggering something very specific in her psyche. That's why that happened. And I love this feeling of being so claustrophobic that you can't even chew food yourself or open your mouth to speak without
Right.
feeling like you're going to explode.
Yeah. It honestly, it put me off of my lunch. I was having a
Sorry.
smoothie. No, it's okay. I would so much rather be put off my lunch from a horror movie than anything else.
Yeah.
But I was literally having a smoothie and it was very thick and it had banana in it. And I was just like, okay, I have to walk away
Oh
for a
no.
second. But
That's
that is a compliment. It's a
good.
compliment to your sound team for sure.
I take it as
Um,
one. I will tell them.
it was great. Do you know how they made like some of those sounds? Like, there was like a specific like I want to use the word smushy
Yeah.
sound. Like it was like the oatmeal or whatever, like glop she was having.
My sound designer and his wife already had a whole library of sort of
Mm,
Foley that they had been collecting for a long time. And
nice.
he ended up using a lot of that. I know it was all practical stuff. I think,
That's great.
the banana peeling is like branches and
Yeah.
yeah. So I've somehow found the most perfect person to bring onto this.
It was so great. It was honestly great. I was like, "Is this supposed to be like this?" And as it was like continuously happening, I was like, "I see. Okay, yeah, this is Amelia's POV." And ugh, God, I would hate that.
Yeah.
I would
Pretty
absolutely
awful.
hate that.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, you spoke a little bit about this, but what inspired you to write this film? I'm assuming you wrote it during the pandemic. Is that right?
I did. I was actually in like even more of a lockdown than normal because I had driven into Canada with a work visa. But when you did that in 2020 and for the next couple of years, you
Yeah.
had to do a 2-week quarantine in your
Right.
home without even going outside. And at one point, I had the police would call you every day to make sure you
Whoa.
were there. Wild. And at one
Yeah.
point they drove by and said, "Hey, can you come to your front door and wave?" It was very, very isolating.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
my
intense.
editor was making a sort of a compilation of zombie stories for a pitch for the Sci-Fi Network, like a short series with a bunch of different stories. And so
Like an
that got
anthology?
an anthology. And so that's what got
Yeah.
me thinking of what would I like to see on a TV show about zombies. And now
Yeah.
The Last of Us has come along and kind of given me everything I could ever want.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of feature in the works, or is there a future for Hollow, or was this kind of like a jumping off point?
I think that Hollow my
Mm.
intention with making this short was to see how action and more gore and a bigger cast worked. I had made a short earlier that was really, really small, and I
Yeah.
was in it acting as well. So it was my chance to step back entirely and be behind the camera. I do have an idea for the feature, which is fun and exciting, and I think would be really great if I can say so myself. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm working on another feature that someone brought me onto because of my previous shorts. So I'm
Got
focusing
it.
on that right now.
Yeah, yeah. You can't do too many things at one time.
No, and this one is like it's so correct. It was actually my composer Dylan from Hollow and the short I did before
Yeah.
said, "Hey, you should meet these producers because he had found this script and it's just mm, it's wonderful."
Oh, yay. I'm excited for that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Is it also horror?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much in the same vein as all of these things. It kind of gets into the wellness industry, which is
Yeah.
something that is so ripe.
Yes, it's so important. I I feel like it's becoming more and more popular, and
Mhm.
I d- I I don't want it to become like a trend. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I just want it to be like authentic stories from real people's experiences, like yours with Hollow, and yeah, I think it's just really important. And again, like horror is just the best medium, in my opinion. Have you always been into horror? Like, where? What is your horror journey? I guess.
Journey. I I was always into it. It's my mom's fault. She's
Me
not
too.
even particularly, yeah, really not a huge horror fan, I would say, but she would rent. She showed me The Omen, Amityville Horror, and The Exorcist. I was definitely under the age of 10 because I had a friend over who had to leave and go home
Oh
after
no.
I'd already seen the Amityville Horror, and I was like, "You're gonna love this. It's so scary.
Yeah.
You'll love it." And that's when I realized, oh, maybe this is not everybody.
Oh
But then in
no.
high school, a group of friends and I, every Friday night, we'd go to Blockbuster. We'd find whatever horror movie that none of us had seen yet and do that.
Yeah.
It was like a weekly
Yeah.
club. Yeah.
That's so great. And so you did Hollow and you did this short film. The short film prior to this, was that also horror? And what was that one?
It was. I didn't start out making it with the intention of it being horror, which I realize now I did because when people watched it, that was the category that it fit. I thought
Yeah.
this is a dark comedy, and it turns out it's a little
Right.
too dark for
Ah.
right in there.
Very fine line.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
dealt with chronic illness, so that's kind of seems to be my way in is just body horror.
That's great.
Yeah,
Dude, I love that. Yeah. I think body horror, especially when women write and direct it, is so much more intense
yeah,
because we deal with body horror on a
all the
regular
time.
basis.
That's what I keep saying. We're just always bleeding and in pain.
Yes. Like, it's funny to me, like, our counterparts, on the other end of the, gender spectrum get, like, queasy and freaked out by it, and we're just like, "I've been dealing with this since I was 10, man."
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Wait till you see a child being born, buddy.
right?
Wow. Yeah,
Exactly.
it is straight up John Carpenter all the way.
Who have been your horror filmmaker inspirations? Speaking of John
Yeah,
Carpenter.
he is a big one. I love practical effects and his sense of humor.
Yeah.
Julia Ducournau is like the most exciting
Yeah.
character to me right now. Her first short,
Yeah.
where it was just brilliant. You know who I really, it's just sort of across the board, and I don't think Bones and All is necessarily horror, but it is cannibalism.
Yeah.
It's Luca Guadagnino and Suspiria, his remake. I thought those
Oh,
were
yes.
his just like his visual style is so beautiful, and I think I want to see more like really stunning visual horror movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, no, no. I love that.
Just right now, or maybe your favorite from 2024.
I mean, from 2024, it's The Substance. Yeah, just
I
was.
knew it was gonna be, and like I haven't seen it yet.
Oh
It
wow.
makes me so mad. I need to watch it.
Yeah, it is. I know one person who walked out of it, and I know way more people
Really?
who loved it so much. And
Yeah.
just, the last 30 minutes are a real work of art. I mean, the whole thing is, but it gets so
Yeah.
insane.
That's
Yeah.
what I keep hearing. I need to watch it so bad. It just looks so good. Well, do you have anything to like promote or tag at this time?
Um, Not yet. I'm taking out this feature this month. We'll start pitching it to producing
Nice.
partners and yes, try to
Cool.
find some money somewhere, which is always the fun part.
Oh
And
yeah, so
yeah, and Hollow is not out online yet. I'm doing 2 more film festivals in Minnesota in March, and then
cool.
I will be putting it on YouTube, and then everybody can watch it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, when it becomes public, I'll make sure to like do some kind of post about it and yeah, just like share this video again just to keep it up, keep people interested. And I'm sure
Great.
you'll be fine doing that on your own, but I just want to, I
Love
like to
to
help.
help. That would be awesome.
Like to help where I can. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. It's been a pleasure and
Same.
hollow. Wow.
Gross.
Yeah. Gross. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day and
Yeah, you
happy New
too.
Year.
Thank
And
you.
then, yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Happy New Year.
Bye. Happy New Year. Bye. Well, that's it from me and Allison Miller. Hope you enjoyed this week's Filmmaker Friday. Tune in every Friday for a new filmmaker interview episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd to see what I'm watching and what I'm rating. Bye, babe.